Good morning, it's the TMI queen. Nose is a little bit stuffy this morning. So I still haven't gotten my lawn mowed. It's rained pretty much every single day, and today is no exception. I just don't know how this is gonna get done. Might just have to buy a goat. So today is Food for Thought Friday. It was gonna be Foodie Friday, but I still had leftovers today, so not really anything exciting unless you want to watch something spinning around in a microwave. So what we're going to talk about today is food insecurity and how it contributed to my weight gain. Food insecurity is basically because of one reason or another, usually financial. You either have limited access to food or restricted access to food. For me, that was a pretty significant thing growing up and as an adult, and really has impacted my binge eating and my overeating. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I was also a divorced single mom on welfare for a very long time. I was working lots and lots of jobs just trying to make ends meet. So food sometimes was scarce. And, I always made sure my son ate to his fill, but I didn't always eat to eat to the point of being full or even satisfied sometimes. And that's because I grew up that way, spending a lot of time not really eating until I was full or satisfied. I just basically ate to live. We never starved, but I was definitely hungry a lot. We ate 3 meals a day and had snacks between, but we were very limited on what we were allowed to have. Cereal in the morning was, I'd have a bowl and my mom would be like, "You filled that too full, you gotta take some of it out." And I'm like, "But I'm hungry for it." And my mom's like, "Doesn't matter. This has to last us till grocery day on Friday. I don't have money to go buy more, so you have to eat what we have." There were times at breakfast time where I went hungry. I ate what I could, but it wasn't enough to fill me or satisfy me. On Sunday morning, my mom would make a special breakfast, which was pancakes, French toast, or waffles, and then you could either have bacon or sausage. And we could only have X number of pancakes, X number of bacon pieces, and when it was gone, it was gone. And you had to make sure it was enough to go around for 4 people. I was still hungry, but we had run out, and my mom didn't buy an overabundance of food. She bought just enough to satisfy us, but not enough to fill us. When we had snacks in the evening, you could have potato chips, but you had to put it in this tiny little butter tub, and we would try to pack it as high as we could because that's all we were allowed to eat. You only have 2 cookies, which I get that because you don't want to have your kid eating a ton of sweets because that's just an expensive dental bill. I would find myself sneaking more and more cookies if I could. When we had dinner, my mom would buy a 12-ounce steak, which isn't terribly huge, and we would cut it in 4 pieces, and every person got a piece of steak that was 4 ounces, which is a serving size, but when you're like a teenager and your appetite's off the charts, that's not enough. It's not enough. I'm telling you, it's not enough. And you're only allowed to have, my mom would make 1 box of macaroni and cheese and make it stretch for 4 people. Box macaroni and cheese for me now feeds maybe 2. Because to me, I'm not full on just a little small portion of macaroni and cheese. I'm just not. All my food growing up was restricted in some way. And then once I became a divorced welfare mom, I wanted to make sure that my son ate really well and that he never had to worry about where his next meal was coming from or how much he ate. So I would usually give up my food so that he could eat it. The more financially secure I became, the more I spent money on food. I would spend money on food before I would spend it on a new house or on appliances or clothes or anything. Food was the first priority, always. My very first paycheck that I ever got babysitting when I was like 13 years old, I spent it on a bag of Doritos, and I ate the whole bag of Doritos in one sitting because I could. And I started to really associate food with security. The more food I had access to, the more secure I felt. So I started to also associate the feeling of fullness and satisfaction with security. So that's why I tend to overeat when I'm feeling kind of stressed, financially insecure, or insecure after a relationship breakup. I will tend to overeat quite a bit because I'm feeling insecure. And subconsciously, the food makes me feel secure. That's definitely something that I need to work on. Find different ways of making myself feel secure that doesn't revolve around food. But this was just something that I most recently kind of realized, because I've really been looking into like binge eating disorder and compulsive overeating. It talks a lot about food insecurity, and that really kind of hit home for me because I never really realized how that food insecurity really impacted me later in life. What is your main reason for overeating? What do you find is one of your big reasons for overeating? I know some people experience stress. Some people it's just a way, like when they're sad, or if they're anxious. What is it that triggers you? Comment below with what your food trigger is. I know a lot of us who especially suffer with binge eating disorder and with compulsive overeating and food addiction. A lot of us have a reason, an underlying reason for why we do this sort of thing. And it's really important to find out the source, because you can't stop what you're doing until you know the source of why you're doing it. You can't fix the problem with throwing a Band-Aid on it. You have to actually go and say, okay, how did I cut myself in the first place? What do I need to avoid cutting myself in the future? That's what I would like your project to be this week, is to take a look at what is it that causes you to overeat, and what can you do to curb that instead of overeating. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful weigh-in, and I will talk to you later. Bye.